Welcome back to Math with Miss Swartz. It's been a while since we've seen a video. So, yesterday we took a quiz over solving equations. There were some that were one step, some that were two steps, some that had some multi-step parts. Today we're adding one piece, and it mainly deals with having variables on both sides of our equation. So, we have to figure out how we can deal with that. So our question of the day is, how can we solve an equation that has variables on both sides? Remember, our whole goal is to be able to get the variable by itself. So if there's variables on both sides, it's pretty tough to get one variable by itself. So we're going to talk about how do we deal with that. So it will be important to write this slide down. Solving equations with variables on both sides. Okay. You can either write it like this, or you can write it out in the steps that I have written, which I think looks a little bit easier. So we want to move all our variables to one side, okay? To do that, we're just using addition and subtraction, and I'll give you examples of that, but we're going to add or subtract one piece, so one variable with its coefficient, if it has one, and move it to the other side. So we're going to do it to both sides. And then if we have constants on both sides, we're going to move constants to the other side. So we're going to add or subtract to do that. Then we can simplify both sides of the equation. We may have to simplify ahead of time, just depending on the problem. So 1 and 2 can kind of go back and forth. And then finally, we'll just be isolating the variable like we always have been, using inverse operations. And then, of course, we check our answer. So today, this is really all the words you'll have to write down, because the rest will be examples. And we'll work through a few of these examples together, and I'll have you try at least one on your own today. Alright, so here's our first example. So the equation says 15 minus 2x equals negative 7x. So as you can see, we have a variable here and a variable here. Well, in getting our variable alone, that makes it pretty tough because we have a variable on both sides. So what we want to do is get all of our variables to one side. So since on this side I have a constant and a variable, I'm going to try to move this variable that way so that I have all my variables to one side of the equation. So if I'm subtracting 2x, if I want to get rid of that on this side, I'm going to add 2x here, because then these cancel. So if I do it to this side of the equation, I need to do it to this side. I'm going to add 2x. Now I can bring down what I have left. So I have 15 is equal to, well, now I just need to look at my coefficients, because these are like terms. I can combine them. So negative 7 plus 2. We have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. I end up with 5, and it's going to be negative because that has the larger absolute value, 5x. So now I have all of my variables to one side. Then my last step would just be to use the inverse operations to get x by itself. So negative 5 is being multiplied by x, so I'm going to divide by negative 5. 15 divided by negative 5 is negative 3, and that equals x. So this should be my answer. To make sure that's true, I can plug it back in. So 15 minus 2 times negative 3 equals negative 7 times negative 3. If I use keep change here, I have 15 plus 6 equals positive 21, and that is true. So make sure you wrote that example down. Okay, let's try another one. In this case, we have to use our distributive property to simplify ahead of time. So I'm going to distribute the two pieces outside here. Negative 2 times x would be negative 2x. Careful here, I saw a lot of mistakes on this on the quiz. That's keep, change, change, so negative 2 times negative 5 would be positive 10. And then I also need to distribute here. So 6 times 2 is 12. If we did keep, change, change. 6 times 1/2, or half of 6, would be negative 3x. Now, we're simplified. We just have to work to get our variables to one side. So I have a negative 2x over here and a negative 3x over here. Doesn't really matter which way you go here because we have a constant on both sides. So it's kind of up to you. If you want to bring the negative 3x this way, great. If you want to bring the negative 2x this way, great. I'm going to go ahead and do the negative 3x. But either way, as long as you're consistent and as long as you do your math correctly, you'll be right. So I added 3x to both sides because I had a negative 3x. So what I'm left with is x plus 10 equals 12. Because negative 2 plus 3, different signs, subtract, so 1, and then positive has our larger value. Now I just work to get x alone. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides, so x equals 2. So I can plug this in. Negative 2 times 2 plus negative 5 should equal 6 times 2 plus negative 1/2 times 2. So I'll do my parentheses, so I get negative 3, and then 2 plus, so this is negative 1/2 times 2 over 1. So that would be negative 2 over 2, so negative 1. So this would be 6 equals 6 times 1. We're good to go. Okay. So 2 was good there. Alright, we got 3 more examples. I'm going to do 1 with you on this slide, and then you're going to do the other 2 on your own. And that's what you'll come check with me on. So I want to get my variables to the same side. So I know that this side only has a variable, this side has a variable and a constant, so I'm going to try to get that 2x over. So I'm going to subtract 2x. So now I have negative 3x minus 2x. So really we have plus a negative 2x. So this would be negative 5x equals 19. Well, then I just have to get my x by itself, divide by negative 5. So x equals, well, I could either call it negative 19 over 5, or if you want to change it to a mixed number, or mixed number, negative 3 and 4/5. Okay. And you could always check that by plugging it back in. So I want you to try 2 and 3 on your own. Get your variables to one side. With both of these, one of them has a constant, so I would work with, the 5y getting that over here, and then the negative 12z getting that over here. And then you can come check. Once you're done, there's a worksheet for homework, but you got to make sure you check with me or another teacher in the room. Big thing here, we need to start showing all our work on our problems. Some of that work on your quizzes yesterday was a little suspect. So make sure that you are showing your work step by step. All right, have a great day.